the safe hands of the two Muntori, okay? And I'll be here on the day. We'll have other helpers. We have third level students who do work experience with these classes during the year from Mary I College in Limerick, and those people will be here. They'll be giving a hand on the day, and also our learning support team. We'll say a little bit more about them in a minute as well. Try not to show signs of outward distress. It's not always as easy as that, and we know you're going to get emotional as well yourselves. The two worst types of mommies and daddies on the first day at school are the children with their first child coming into school for the first time on Kate Pasta stock. And believe it or not, for some of the old hands that are on the screen here who've done this a couple of times before, the children whose youngest child are coming to school for the first time. Despite the fact they have a couple of Draharica and Drafurica, moms and dads find that quite difficult as well. And also, remember, there might be Laur Alvalu or Engaged Law. You might have some books to collect from the Muntor. They'll have them ready at the end of the day. So you can get those at the end of the school day. The teachers will have those ready for you. Starting off, during the first few weeks of school, what's going to happen? And the emphasis will be on establishing routines for your child. It will be on their social interaction with other children and enjoying school. And that really is the most important thing. So we want your children to have the best fun that they can possibly have at school. And that's what all the emphasis is going to be on. So when you ask your child that magical question that every teacher loves, Cadarinne to our Cruinniú, what did you do at school today? The answer is going to be very precise. It's going to be nothing. We were playing all day long. That's what we're going to be doing. Don't be expecting them to come home with their first assignment, which they'll have a deadline of 2 weeks for, or don't expect them to give you big, long, complicated conversations about all of the learning they were doing at school. They're going to be playing, and that's the basis of the curriculum. And we'll be talking about that a little bit down the line. The children may sit wherever they want to during their first week of school. So if they have a Cara, if they have a friend that maybe was in Naíonáin or that was in another preschool with them, by and large they'll be sitting maybe beside that person on the first day or two. But the Muntori will very quickly cop that maybe that's not the best place for them to be, and maybe they'd be better off maybe with somebody new, learning how to mix, or maybe there are two children who spark off each other and maybe they're better kept a little bit aside. You've given us a lot of that information. If there's anything else you feel you want to chip in, let us know in the coming days, or let us know closer to the time before we come back for the holidays. The groups that the children have and the tables are color coded for the first few weeks, and the children will be assigned a place on a particular table or a group. Each group will be assigned a leader on a daily rota system, which encourages responsibility. The master has to make a confession here. I haven't looked at this since last year, but I'm presuming that the rules are still the same and that that's the way that things will work, and Masha and Maeve will confirm that. Pre-reading, and I suppose this is getting in now to a little bit of the nuts and bolts, because they won't just be playing all the time, they will be learning. Even with the play, they'll be learning all the time from the day that they come into the school. But from October, we'll be introducing letters, and one letter will be introduced each week. Children are introduced to letters using alphabet songs, Trí Gaeilge, Le Cope ag Dul Valle. We have a very exciting new package that we looked at a couple of weeks ago, which is coming from a company down the road in Wexford called Love Kunta. I'm trying to remember the name of the package and I can't. But the children will be mainly working from that program, and they'll be learning hour on around the sound of each letter. One thing we're going to ask you to do is we're going to ask you to park your own experience for most of you, which would have been learning Trí Bhearla. So your letter sounds would have been A, B, C, D, and the sounds would have been A, B, C, D. A lot of them will be very similar as Gaeilge, but some of them will be quite different. So the letter A, for instance, can be used for A, or can also make the sound A. So think of words like asel. Think of words that start with the letter A, and roll with what the Muntor teaches your child. And they'll be doing that. So don't forget, and we'll be talking about it a little bit in a while, that it's all Gaeilge from day one, and it's all Gaeilge for the first 2 years. And that your child is in school. We have a policy called Tumadachas, and again, we'll come back to that in a few minutes. Emphasis is placed on the sound of the letter rather than the name. And again, this is something that has changed since many of us were, certainly I was at school, not these younger women over here. And the emphasis isn't as much on the name of the letter, it's on the sound that the letter makes, because really that's what we use when we're reading, when we're writing. It's the sounds that we use to make our words and to understand our words. Then there'll be Tishkent, August Laurt, and really that's what a huge amount of everything is about. It's Tishkent, it's listening to the Muntor speaking Gaeilge all day long. Some of the great programs that we've got on our fancy, beautiful new screens up here behind us, where children will be watching cartoons from T.G. Carr. They'll be looking at pieces from programs like Boo and Akainte, which we use in the school, which have lots of brilliant interactive material from which the children learn. They'll be learning simple things like Naíonáin Bheaga. So they'll have a little Laur that the children will work from. It'll be going home in the mala to you. They'll be learning things like that you read from the left of the page to the right of the page, unless we have any Chinese children coming into the school, and then it's the other way around, but that's the way we learn Gaeilge. That there's top to bottom, so you start at the top of the page and you work your way down. They'll be learning visual discrimination, how to sort things out. Maeve and the two of us were having a great conversation about sorting and all sorts of things being divided up. They'll be learning to divide the red bricks from the yellow bricks, from the blue bricks, from the green bricks, and put them into their groups. And then also learning auditory discrimination, where they can sort out the sound of one thing from the other. So whether that's a letter or a sound that an animal makes, or all of those skills that are going to be so important down the line. Very important, rialach in the school. We don't really like jumping into rules so early, but it is important just to say them to you. The first and most important rule in our school is real na Gaeilge. And that means that from the day your child comes into the school, they're encouraged to use every word and every syllable of Gaeilge that they have, in order that they will get used to speaking Irish as quickly as possible. Now, before you get a heart attack, we're not expecting that for the first week in school or the first month at school. We would hope that children will have a really good level of understanding by Christmas, and that they will understand all of the directions that their Muntor is giving them, and the things that other people like the master who comes into the classroom are saying, and we'll slow it down and we speak our Gaeilge at a very simple level for the first couple of months. But we do expect, as the year goes on through Naíonáin Bheaga, they'll start to use their words more and more, and that by the time they get to the end of Naíonáin Bheaga, the time they get to the end of their first year at school, into the trio terma, the third term, that they'll be beginning to put a few words together and form very simple sentences. And then on into Naíonáin Bheaga, that will get better and better. The other rule we have at school is we have Lone Slán Tool, we have a healthy lunch. And sometimes parents say, oh no, I want to be popping into Centra and buying the roll that's wrapped in the morning, or buying the little carton of juice, and that's going to make my life easier. And you're right, in a way, sometimes it is easier. And if there's an emergency in your house any morning and something hasn't got done, we will always make an exception. But every other day, we do want your child to have a healthy lunch, and that means no crisps, no sweets, no fizzy drinks. They're the major no-nos, and as little of processed drinks like apple juices even as you can manage to make them. So we do have, for anybody out there, any mom or dad who works for Glanbia, and they're very important people in our community, your child will be able to buy banya na scoile. They'll be able to buy small cartons of milk from the day they start at school, and have a carton of milk every day. Other than that, use recyclable, reusable bottles that you'll seal, ones that don't spill and that the seal doesn't break on. Make sure they're closed tight in the morning, and in that, the main things we want you to have are ishka or banya. And in the ishka, if you want to make the ishka a little bit better and more attractive for the kids at the start, by all means add a drop of cordial of ribena or fruit juice into it in order to make it a little bit more palatable for them. But really, it's very hard to beat either milk or water as healthy drinks coming into school, and get your children used to that again between now and the time that they come to school. We're a Skull Gloss, we're a green school. We're hugely proud of the fact that out on our bike racks today, we had 70 rower and scooter coming into the school. So 70 children out of 450 in our school came to school today by either bike or by scooter. And believe it or not, quite a number of those children are in Naíonáin Bheaga, and particularly the scooter users and people living in the neighbouring estates, in Páirc na Gabhain, in Patrick's Gate across the road, in Smithlands, down on the estates around the Waterford Road. A lot of those people will scoot or walk to school. Come with them yourself. We don't expect them to do it on their own. And for those of you who have to drive to school, then you can park in neighbouring shopping centres like Smithlands next door to us, in Lidl and Aldi down on the Waterford Road, over in Super Value, or even up in the watershed in the morning, and you can walk the rest of the way with your child, or they can come on their scooter with you, and in time, if they feel ready to do it, they'll be able to cycle to school like many of the children in our school do. Again, if they come with you and you're cycling, it makes it much easier for them. Some of you may still be bringing Bucadigas Colini in on a seat on the back of the bike, and that's perfectly good as well. We aim to have 100 or more, a quarter of our students coming by bike or scooter to the school, and we're going to have lots of new parking areas for our bikes and scooters, which we're being given by Antashka, and we'll be ready to go with those in September, October when they're delivered. Biggie Daslin Akela Igoni Afoshti. The one thing we're asking all of your children is to be nice and well behaved to each other, to their muntor from the beginning. And one of the things we just want to be very clear, we have a code of behaviour in the school, and it includes our rules about Gaeilge, and we're going to ask you to sign a little permission slip to say that you have read our code of behaviour, that you accept it, and that you accept all of the major rules of the school. And that's your contract with the school, and our contract with you is that we'll do our best to make sure that these rules never have to be mentioned, because your Páistí are so good at keeping them that we really don't have to worry about them. And that's the way it goes. Cummersad is the Irish word for communication. It is very important that you are in communication with us as a school, and that we're in communication with you. We're going to be sending you out some messages about hooking up to a wonderful facility called Aladdin Connect. So the database that we use in our school is the one that we've been sending you out emails and messages through. It's an Irish software package called Aladdin. And we'll be asking you to download the app for Aladdin onto your phone. We'll send you out the instructions on that in the coming days. You download it onto your phone, and then you get a login username and password. You log into that for the first time, and then you will be able to, sorry, I'm looking at the camera here, Shane, on my computer instead of up there at the camera. You'll be able to log in, and all of the messages that come from the school to you will come through that app, okay? Equally, you can use that app to interact with the school. So if your child is sick, you can give us the reason why your child isn't at school for a particular day, if it's an appointment, or you can also use the teachers' email addresses, which the teachers will be providing to you, to send them a message about something big or small. And the most important thing is, the sooner we know that you have an issue or a concern, no matter how small or big it is. Remember, we've one motto in our school: there is no such thing as a silly question. If it's important to you, it's important to us. And the sooner you ask the question, the quicker you get an answer, and the quicker we can put your mind at ease. Or if it's something bigger, the sooner we can all start to work on trying to find a solution to it. Okay? Very, very important, the last line on this slide. please make sure that all of your details are kept up to date. We on occasion have had people who went on to pigsback.com or switch, what do they call these switching websites? They decide to change all the mobile phone numbers in the family because they've got a better deal with Three or Air or somebody else, and they totally forget to tell the school that they've changed all the numbers. And suddenly, and it occasionally happens, we have an ambulance out at the front gate. We need to contact you in a hurry because there's been an accident and we can't contact you. It rarely happens. Hopefully it will never happen to any of you. But if it's the case, we need to make sure that your phone numbers, your email addresses, and in particular, the other emergency contacts you may have, the granny, the granddad, that all of those details are kept as up to date as they can possibly be on our system. And as part of Aladdin, you can actually update those yourselves as you go along. So we hope that you will do all of that. Anybody like to talk about the grip on the pencil, Masha? Or will I keep talking? I'm running out. I'm happy to go on here. Pre-writing is something that is very, very important. So there's going to be lots of stuff going on with your child in order to get them ready for writing. Okay, because pre-reading is very important, knowing their sounds, beginning to get used to the feel of books. But pre-writing is about the skill for your child of beginning to use a pencil. I've picked the skinniest one in the room. I'm sure there's probably one of the nice chubby ones. And these are the nice chubby ones they use. 3-sided pencils. We can pop it up there in front of the camera. And your children will have these from very early in the year. And we'll be teaching your child how to use the famous tripod grip, okay? A little bit like what Shane's camera is resting on here. Your child uses their 3 fingers in order to be able to support the pencil and in order to be able to run. So I'm trying to remember the middle.
I have a little trick if you want to.
Muntomiev will do it. Muntomiev show you all.
So I suppose really what you want to discourage is children holding the pencil like this at the moment. Now a lot of them will use both left and right at this stage. Even to colour in, you'll see that with some kids, they may not have developed a preference for either their left or right side. But what we will be doing in school with them is we'll get them to lay the pencil flat, pointing towards them. And we just kind of say, the way we say this, we say pick, flick, 3 tape here. So you have your 3 fingers, 1, 2, 3, and you pick with your thumb and your 4 fingers. So you pick it here, not too far up the pencil and not too far down the pencil. You flick it backwards and you put 3 behind. And that is kind of your perfect tripod grip. So
okay.
We'll be doing work on that in school as well. But I suppose just at the moment they may be doing this with their pencils probably with crayons or whatever they're using either hand at the moment. And that's what we
I suppose prior to that too, Maeve, we do a lot of work on fine motor skills for the children, because when they start sometimes they don't have the strength in their little hands. So we would use a lot of sessions based on Play-Doh, and they would use sand, they would use stencils. So there's lots of things we do in practice beforehand, before they get to that point of being ready to use the pencil and start writing. And we might use chalk on paper, crayons on paper. So we use lots of different techniques. But I suppose the biggest thing that, as a parent, you could practice at home with them before they come as well is to use the scissors, because a lot of children come to school and they actually haven't had a lot of experience of using the scissors. Sometimes the parent is nervous of handing them the scissors and, they don't get the experience. So it's very good for them to practice cutting, because myself and Maeve love art.
And a couple of really useful tricks on playing with to use the scissors. A lot of kids will kind of use it up in the air like this, but if you get them to hold a tennis ball between their body and their elbow, it forces them to kind of bring their elbow in, which gives them the right position. And if you want to put a sticker on the top of the scissors facing upwards, that they have to turn the scissors the correct way, and that can help with using of the scissors, because an awful lot of them get very frustrated very quickly because they're trying to use it almost up in the air and it's not really cutting anything for them, and then I suppose they get a little bit demotivated. So that can just be a little tip that helps as well.
Okay, and don't forget, and it used to be a terrible word when I was at school, lots of kids are kitogues, as we say, and use their left hand. So just something to remember, you can buy left-handed scissors. You'll get them in the art and hobby shop. You can buy them online. Make sure that if your child is a kitogue, which is a great word of praise we use these days, that they're using the right scissors and that they're following the rule. And I'm just displaying that it's 32 years since the master last taught junior infants, and so much of what I remember then, number one, has moved on, but also so much of it has been forgotten in here. So these Montori, as I said, are much more expert than I am. So chubby grip pencils, again, there are something to look out for over the summer, those 3-sided pencils, and that you can start doing a little bit of work with that. But as Marsha said, it's a lot of tactile work with your children's fingers. You can buy Play-Doh, you can buy packs of Marla, you can buy all those wonderful packs of stuff, or you can even work on making them at home over the summer. And making Play-Doh is one of those great little make and do activities you can do at home to get your child used to using what they're doing. So again, the pattern formations, walking from left to right. So again, getting our children used to writing from left to right on the page as they come along. And again, as we said, the correct grip is very important. All areas are covered in junior infants except Birla. And this sometimes frightens our new parents. And I'll do a little bit now to explain it. We work a policy called Tomadachas, or immersion education. And this is a well-tried and trusted theory across every language community, particularly minority languages across the world. So it's used in the Basque Country, it's used in Catalonia, it's used in Wales, it's used in Scotland, where children are studying what for them is very often a second language. So many of you remember going to the Coláiste Sáirigh for the summer. We won't say what you might remember, but one of the things that you'll remember, one of the tests always was it's only when you're dreaming of Gaeilge that it's really set in. So if we're going to be reverting back to English during the school day, your child isn't getting the opportunity to start thinking with that other side of their brain, which is the second language. And it's been proven in every international study and survey that using those two parts of the brain is really, really beneficial to your children down the line when it comes to learning everything. So everything in Naíonáin Bheaga in junior infants is trí Gaeilge. Maths, Mata, Star, Tyrolis, Olaíocht, History, Geography and Science go under what we call SESE, or I'm trying to remember what they stand for, Scientific, Environmental, Social, am I right? Education. And then we have our other part of the curriculum, hugely important to our school here, is our arts curriculum. So we are a Scoil Il Dána, which doesn't mean that every child in our school is Dána, but it means Scoil Il Dána is that we are a creative school working under a project which is run by Creative Ireland and the Arts Council, and we were very lucky to be one of the first schools in Kilkenny to be involved in that programme. We'll be working with Masha as one of the coordinators of the project, with Coláiste Pobal Osri, our sister secondary school, and with the Gael School and the Coláiste up in Carlow up the road. And we happen to know the two principals of those schools very well in the coming years. We always knew the principal of the Coláiste, but we're going to know the principal of the primary school very well, because one of our own, Muntor Ruth, is moving on to be the Privida up in that school. We'll miss her, but we're really looking forward to seeing the work that we're doing together. Social, personal and health education. Very, very important part of our curriculum. And it's about your child's health and their personal. We're very strong on mindfulness. We're very strong on children having time out to think, be able to relax and focus on the good parts of their health. And also we'll be looking at their physical health. So back to our healthy lunches, lots of PE, lots of activity, and out on our AstroTurf pitch, out in the yard, on our playground. You see a little bit of that in a while, and out in the close, out in the school and in our holla. And we do everything we can to give children an opportunity to try out every sport, every type of physical activity they possibly can, from Snov up in the watershed, where children go to on their swimming classes, and from very early on in their days in school with us, right through to playing on school teams in team sports down the line. And Tuesdays and Fridays, are we going to stick to those days? I'm not sure if the Montori have spoken about that yet, but they'll let you know the days that suit them when the timetable is made out. It's called Catholic Uxing. We're a Catholic school under the patronage of the Bishop of Ossory, who also at the moment is the Bishop of Kildare and Loughlin. So your children will be celebrating the sacraments of First Penance, First Communion, and Confirmation as we go through the school. We will have masses as visits to the church. St. Fiacre's, our church down the road as part of St. Patrick's Parish, is a very important place for our children. So that is an option for your child, and we hope, and the vast majority of our children do take part in those ceremonies and in the religion program as we go through school. But you do also, as some of you will know, have the option to opt out and to choose not to participate in the religion curriculum, and that's fine. And we will discuss with you, the Montori will sit down with you and discuss the ways in which your child can have other things to do at those times and how we can find a work around that and how that works also. But as we say, it is a central part of the school day. We do say a Padr or Madden. We say our prayers in the morning, at lunchtime, and in the afternoon before we go home. And children will get little pieces of Obervalle to bring home where they're learning their prayers or practicing their prayers, and they're doing a little piece of reflection, or they're doing their Padr Nahiya after you've read the stories with them at home, and that's another day's work. Okay? Obervalle, always a controversial topic. The ladies here know that I'm not the biggest fan of Obervalle in the whole planet, and most of the study is showing that actually Obervalle does very little at primary level for children other than stress their parents out. So we're having a discussion when we come back to school in September about how we can, and we've learned a lot during COVID, and about how children can do lots in class. But we are also, one of the things that we have learned over the last year is that some of the platforms that we use because we had to, we're actually keeping because we want to. So platforms like Seesaw, where we can give your children assignments to do, they can work on them at home. You'll have a username and login for them, and you'll be able to interact with the teacher, and children can make little video clips of themselves reading and of themselves doing a song or performing, and upload it to the school, to the class Seesaw platform, and be able to use that in a way that makes children become really good digital learners as well as the traditional. And we love the traditional. We'll talk about our learning and our reading. We love our books and our copybooks and our Pian Louis and all of that. But we also have to recognize the fact that more and more of the children, like we're doing now, will be communicating with each other, will be communicating with their friends and with their family through digital platforms in the future, and we have to prepare them for that too. You'll have done the kind of things that will be going on, and when children are learning at home, they'll have Dante, they'll have poems, they'll have Auron, they'll have songs. We hope to God that very soon we'll be able to sing back in the classroom again. One of these crazy things in COVID that we had to really restrict, which is really difficult because it's such a part of learning, particularly down at junior infant. I think there's been a bit of secret singing going on in here, and we're doing it as safely as we can possibly manage, maybe out in the yard, so that we're avoiding any of the dangers that go on with that. You'll be getting things called Naíonáin. I know we've some great past pupils online here, and they remember what Naíonáin are, the little phrases about how our language is put together. And then a little bit as we get on, Clock Scríobh, a little bit of practice of writing, and those little pattern forming and the pre-writing skills that your children will be able to have. Your Obervalle will not take an hour and a half. You won't be slaving over a hot copy book. It'll be Cruinniú den Omid when there's a little bit of work to be done at home. Very limited, just to get your child into the habit of doing some of that work and get them used to it as we go along. Khalini, if I'm going on here at any stage, jump in. We have short break. There'll be a short break for your children, and this is where we have to make a couple of little changes to the slides. And it will either be at 10:45 or it will be at 11:05. So Caharú chun na héindiog nó cuaig tréise héindiog. And one of the implications of the COVID restrictions is that unfortunately we can't let the two Naíonáin Bheaga classes go out together. So one of the classes, they'll toss a coin for it here, one of the classes will go out first and then the second class will go out second. And the same is happening at ar-líne Bheaga, so you can ignore the time you see up there. Ar-líne Bheaga, which is our main main lunch break in the day. The first one will start at Caharú Tréise Dóiag at 12:15. It'll finish at a Caharú Chunahéan at 1:45. The children will come back into the class, the teacher will grab their lunch, and then the next class will be out from a Héan o'clock to Lahor Tréise Héan from 1 o'clock to 1:30, and then they have very little time back in the classroom before they're going home, and that's just the realities of how things have been working. But one of the advantages of, as we call them, the COVID susana, is that your children actually have a lot more space on the yard. Not all, it's only half of the children in the school are out at different times. And just so you're comfortable with this, they'll be in a bubble for the foreseeable future, which is their own class. So they'll stay in that class group from the time they come in the morning until the time they leave in the evening, and they'll work with that group all the time. The big advantage of that is that I was reading school reports this evening that are going home in the near future. They're really getting to know each other because they're playing with each other all day long, and it creates a real bond between the group of children that are in the class. An area of the playground is reserved, especially for the junior and senior infants, and there's a ar-líne across in the middle of the yard. That's not at work at the moment because your child will be playing in different stations. It could be one of the stations out on the yard here beside us. It could be the playground, our wonderful playground, or Unatsugara. They could be on the Astro, not maybe for the infants as of yet at lunchtime. They get plenty use of the Astro during the school day. So those are the main places they'll be, and they'll move around those areas. Okay? Going home, collecting your child on time, and I better switch back here to the morning and the evening, because normally all of our children came in, they were all here in the yard for the 15 or 20 minutes before we opened, and then they went into their ar-líne, into their line, and the Múntóir collected them and brought them into the classroom. Unfortunately, we can't do that at the moment. So in order to stagger the children coming in and that they're not all coming in at the same time, the first of the children, I'm not sure if Múntóir may have heard this yet, arrive at 10 to 9. So it's literally the first half of the alphabet. So I think it's from the letter A to about the letter, if I remember right, about the letter H, I think, because we have very few children with letters towards the end of the alphabet, U, V, Y, Z in the Irish language. But we'll let you know that. And those children will arrive from 10 to 9 until 9 o'clock. And instead of going into the yard and mixing with other children, they'll go directly to the emergency exit door that there is out onto the yard. And again, we'll explain all that to you when you come in on the 31st, and you'll come directly into your classroom, and the child will be with their teacher for that period in the morning. In the afternoon, at 10 to 2, the junior infants are the exception. They will all be brought out by the Múntóir, and they'll meet you out near the bike racks at the front of the school, and you can collect your child and head away from there. Or if you have childminders, they will fill you in on this. Childminders, or if your child is going to a creche in the afternoon, we facilitate the staff of those places coming and collecting your child, and they're all very familiar with the routines around that. The one thing we would ask you to be is make sure to collect your child on time. And just remember that the first, I think, 2.5 weeks, it won't even be that long. It's the first 2 weeks this year because we're coming in on Tuesday. The first 2 weeks, your child will finish at 12 o'clock. So on Friday,
dates here. So we're starting on Tuesday the 30th.
We start on the 31st.
And the Friday, which would be kind of the following week, is it? So 2 weeks.
Is Friday the
10th.
10th.
Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, Friday the 10th will be the date on which the half days will finish in effect for your POSH-D. So for the first 2 weeks, they get a shorter day to allow them to settle in. So maybe factor that in again with your childminders and other arrangements. And then from Monday, the 13th, your children will be in until 10 to 2 every day.
So
And
this
they'll be
is only
going
for myself as well. What time are they going home at? Is it the first of the 2 breaks? 12 o'clock.
12 o'clock.
the 12 o'clock, yeah. So the 12 o'clock is when children go home. They'll be gone from the yard by the time that the first lunch break will be coming out in the yard. So again, try and make sure that yourselves or grandparents or minders or whatever crest staff are collecting them on time and that they're aware of those arrangements. Okay? And how you can help? Good writing. I think again, we've gone through a lot of this. Working on the hand skills with your children over the summer. This is what you can do to help over the summer. Noticing visual differences, essential to reading, and encouraging use of matching games, construction work, jigsaws, all of those kind of things to get your child spotting how things fit together, how they look different to each other, or how they look the same. Reading aloud to your child, if we can say nothing else this evening, this is the most important thing. Reading to your child, morning, noon, or night, it doesn't matter, but particularly maybe when your child is going to sleep at night, is a really, really, really good habit to develop. It settles your child, it gets them to relax. I certainly remember with very big POSH-D now, how difficult it can be to get children to LABA. And could I just say before we forget this, maybe around the middle of August, start thinking about changing your child's routine, because during the summer, they stay awake longer, they're out playing, they have all the fun that they have with their friends or with their brothers and sisters. But maybe for a week and a half or so before we come back to school, start thinking about the earlier bedtimes again, the shot the club or up the club, including for ourselves, exactly, yeah. And getting the children maybe used to getting that little bit more sleep, because you can take it from us, on the first week that they go home at 12 o'clock, they will be panned out, exhausted, and it'll be a change of scene for them. So maybe establishing that routine a little bit earlier will help in that. Gaeilge, as much as you can manage to get into the routine during the summer, please do so. If you're not in the habit of watching TG Car, please start now. It's a magical station. The camogie was back on Sunday. The hurling and football will be on over the summer. And I can't remember if any of the Olympics is on TG Car. I don't think it is. It'll be on. But there'll be lots of sporting events on. But don't forget Cúla Cahar. Cúla Cahar is effectively TG Cahar's version of the Den, as it used to be. It's that time of the day when they have particular children's programs. I think it normally runs in the morning up till about 11 o'clock, and then in the afternoon it runs from about 2 to 5. And that's where all the cartoons are, the SpongeBob SquarePants. Don't forget the brilliant cartoons that they have from our very own cartoon saloon in Kilkenny. I'm trying to remember the names of the programs.
Puff and Rock one, that's on Netflix, but that's in English. So
Puff and Rock, I think Puff and Rock is on TG Cahar as well, Oscailge. So many of the TG Cahar programs. Donald Donna is Horrid Henry in his English version. All of those cartoons are there, and they're really, really brilliant. Just get your child listening. If you're in the car, switch over to 94 FM, switch over to Radio na Gaeltachta, and just get your child listening to the music for anybody who thinks that it's all traditional music, or as Kilkenny people so wonderfully say, diddly-eye. It's not all about that. There's some fantastic grant. For those of you into alternative music, I'll make a plug for a program which will begin soon after we finish this evening, called Untaif Tuhal, which runs from 9 to 11 o'clock every night. Your children are not going to be listening to that, but there are some really cool music programs on Radio na Gaeltachta, and it's literally just having it on the car, getting your children listening to hearing people speaking Oscailge. For those of you who have any word of Irish, please use it. There is no more powerful weapon when you bring your child into school than for them to hear mom and dad speaking to the Múinteoir, and there is no such thing as bad Irish. Múinteoir Maeve or Múinteoir Masha or myself are not going to say, you didn't have that in the Tishel Ginnadu, please say it again. Okay? We're going to listen to whatever words of Gaeilge you have, and we'll help you out with any words that you have. And that shows to your child that actually mom or dad don't have this perfect, so I don't have to have it perfectly right from day one. I can make the mistakes and I can potter through this language and learning it in the way that everybody else does.
Sean, a lot of our parents find that when the children start going home from September with new vocabulary in Irish, that suddenly it starts to come back for parents. The words that they had forgotten, the little sentences they'd forgotten in Irish from primary school, secondary school, start to flood back, and this lovely connection and bond starts to happen between you and your child based around the lovely language of Irish. So, you know, we're not expecting parents to be fluent in Irish, to know every sentence that the child goes home to understand it all, but at least to embrace it and show the children that you're embracing it, that they can see that you're picking it up from them and suddenly they're teaching you. And children love nothing more than to feel that they actually can teach us something. You know, all our children love that. So it's actually a lovely thing. It's a lovely relationship to have with your child. So don't be put off or worried or concerned that you don't have the Irish, because believe you me, by Christmas you'll be picking it up. And we've a number of parents come back to us and say, gosh, I'm really mad to learn more Irish now because I'm really getting into this. So it's actually a really cool thing to happen between you and your child. So, you know, just really go with it and embrace it, and you'll find you will learn so much from them.
And just to add to that as well, Moshe, exactly what, like, to echo everything you said, but also the library, the local library here is a great resource, and make sure that you're asking like for Irish books, and because the only way they'll get more in is if we're asking for them, and we're the people who are going to be looking for them. So I myself kind of, you know, made a point the other day of asking for an Irish book in the library just to get myself back into the swing of things after a bit of a break. But I just think it's really important because, you know, unless people are reading those books, they're not going to bring them in. But it's also a fabulous way for them to see that it's in our community. And you'd be surprised if you locally shop, like just say Slán, say Gurb Mahagut, like everybody has, not everybody, but like a lot of people locally will have a little bit of Irish, will have a couple of focal, and just to incorporate that into your day-to-day, I think just brings it to life and gives it, I suppose, a bit of a meaning as well.
And I know, Sean, sorry, that you're going to send out the Gaeilge this. It's a little online booklet. It's gorgeous. It has lots of little phrases that you can use with the postie at home. So it might be feig an cup on, you know, you're telling them to go fetch the cup, or, you know, Oscail an Doras. It's simple little things. It's things that are really manageable for you. Like a lot of parents are working full time. It's very hard. So this hopefully will give you that stepping stone back into the Irish language. Absolutely.
The booklet is called Déan Comhrá, and you'll find it on our website, which is www.osrai.com. Not to be confused with osrai.ie, which is the Coláiste Pobbles website, which is well worth a look as well. And also you will find the Déan Comhrá booklet on a site called Gael Idachas or Gael Idachas.ie, which is the national website of the body that represents Gael Scoilin and Gaeltacht schools around the country. Just a little plug, if you are staycationing this summer, consider going to the Gaeltacht. Consider going over to Connemara, consider going to Rathharn. If you go down to Dungarvan and Ring and the areas down around there, do use your Gaeilge in the local shops. And if people are rude to you, don't let them away with it. And make sure that they do speak Gaeilge to you. Many of them are just embarrassed about doing it. Maeve mentioned the Lowerlin. As well as the Lowerlin, we have 3 great bookshops in Kilkenny, in the Book Centre, in Eason's, and we can never forget to mention brilliant supporters of Gael Scoil Osri, Can's bookshop on James Street, who make a huge effort to get Lower Gaeilge into their shop also. But again, as Múinteoir Maeve said, one of the reasons that the shops don't have as many Lower as they should have is because we don't support them and we don't buy them when they do get them in. So it's very important to go and ask in the bookshops where the sections for the lower Gaeilge are, and show your child that you're buying books, simple books, that are very easy to use at the start, and the staff will give you a handout. Sorry, Maeve, go on.
No, just on that, and something I recently discovered, any of you who have children under 5, so some of your kids who are coming into us may still be under 5 years old, but if you have younger children, Soalia, there is a free package from Tuismitheoirí na Gaeltachta, and they send you out like a gorgeous package of books. I got it recently myself, and some of the lovely books that I know from buying them from school, some of them cost like 10 and 12 euros, and you get a package delivered to your house of lovely books, a beautiful phrase book for you, Soalia, like the Tuismitheoirí, a couple of CDs. Now, I actually don't have a CD player in my house anymore, so I gave it to my parents. So now the granny and the granddad are using the Ranta and the Aaron, so there's songs and stuff. But it's like if you were to do it in English, it must cost them like quite a bit of money. So it's a really, really decent resource. It's Tuismitheoirí na Gaeltachta. You just sign up to it and they send you out the package, but your child has to be under 5 years of age. That's the only stipulation. But I'm sure many of you may have other children, or your child may still be 4. But that's definitely a brilliant resource as
Absolutely. Well. And by the way, Táis going to go couple of Tuismitheoirí talk to Stockholm, but I Lord Gaeilge lena quid pasti Savala Hannafin. Agus Tommy de Giri on Gaelin sin agus an cultúr atá gaibse a Kilura no Godagan the Foster Sky. One of the strange things we find in here is that children who are native speakers, who have grown up, like my own pashti at home, speaking Irish as their first language, sometimes they start reverting into their shell and stop speaking Gaeilge when they come into the school because so many of the other children around them are speaking Aspirla. So we'll do our level best, and let us know if your child has a good level of Gaeilge and Denimid ar-líne Ishin a Cruinniú. I just want to say one other very important thing, and I've broken my promise about the match, and that is in terms of your child having difficulties. And some of you have already been in contact in Tommy Anavich to say that your child has a developmental difficulty, some sort of a little glitch in their learning, or maybe something more fundamental than that. The sooner we have the information about any slight little gap that your child has in their learning or in their development, the sooner we can put resources in place for your child. So whether it's a little bit of additional support from a special needs assistant who comes in and works with your child for little periods of the day, or maybe more periods of the day, and any kind of physical differences in ability that your child has, please make sure that we know. And again, if you're just a little bit doubtful, if you come to us and let us know, ask us a question, is this something that we need to follow up on? We're going to do it. If you notice down the line, after a year or two, that there's something that just isn't clicking with your child, again, say it sooner rather than later, because it's only when we know that we can develop this. We forgot to say at the start, by the way, Shane has filmed most of this session. So the session that we have, we will make available to parents who weren't able to come tonight. Are we going to roll with the video, Shane? Go on, Maeve.
Sorry, just on a practical note, something you mentioned earlier, I just want to emphasise about the school bag, just make sure that the school bag can fit an A4 folder, their lunchbox and their jumper, and that's just from a classroom management point of view, to make sure that, and that they're, I know Sean mentioned that they're able to pack it and unpack it, but just to mention that, and also that they know who to ask for help in the first couple of weeks. Sometimes, make sure that they know that if there's something wrong or something upsetting them, that they know to ask their mentor, and we'll be meeting them on the 31st. But even just, we'll be saying it, but just to reiterate at home that, if something is the matter, or if they're worried, or if they've feeling left out in the yard, or that they're not able to do something, that they ask for help and that they're able to do that. And that might be something to maybe model at home or practice in the run-up into coming into school as well.
And another practical one, Maeve, is that we really encourage the children to bring their drink of water to school. But I suppose a lot of kids are bringing a large bottle of water, and sometimes there are accidents. They take the lid off and it knocks all over the classroom floor. So you can imagine if you at home in your kitchen tonight just emptied a full container of water onto the kitchen floor, it's a lot of mopping up in the middle of your day. And so we could have, that happen twice a day with kids. So really the most practical thing would be to divide that water between 2 bottles and send the children in with 2 half quantities, let's say, of water, the same amount of volume of water, but just divided over 2 bottles. So yes, they can fill it up because they bring in a large bottle, and really, you know, they go home with most of it. And then when there is an accident, it's just a little bit hard on us to manage it. But I suppose the biggest thing that we'd like to say as well is that the ethos of our school here in Gael School Osree is really that at the end of the day that the children go home happy, and that is something we guarantee you. That was something that advice I got from some teachers who are retired now, and it was really good, solid advice. They told me when I started here, just make sure the children always go home happy at the end of the day. And it's something that we really do adhere to. Your child, we guarantee you, will go home happy every day. And if there is an issue, we will do our utmost to resolve it for them. Because what might seem small to us can be a huge thing to your child, or it can be a huge thing to you. So we're very open and we're very approachable, both myself and Maeve. So there's nothing too small or too big to deal with. So please feel free to always ring the office and make an appointment to chat with us.
Okay, we have 2 questions in the chat, and Gurmahagav to whatever parents sent them in. Dear Grace, when are the uniforms available? If we knew that, we'd have told you straight away. But they should be available, I would imagine, in the next week or 2. And as soon as I get word from Paul's and from Duggan's, so the Monster House as it used to be called, they're the 2 shops that supply our uniforms. You do not need a formal school uniform for junior or senior infants. So no long grey trousers, no lovely check skirts for the girls or pinafores. I'm not sure if they qualify as pinafores. None of that. No starchy shorts for the first 2 years. The new tracksuit will have very sporty fitted quarter zip tops, which the child will wear. They'll wear them over the famous bright yellow t-shirt of the Gael School, which has the school crest embroidered on it, and then they will have a pair of navy or black track bottoms with them. They will have the matching ones available in the shops, but you can buy the closest nearest substitute. There will be no marks on the track bottoms, so you are allowed to buy cheaper ones. By and large, we would say maybe when you're starting off in school, maybe buy the formal one first and ensure that you have that, and maybe use the pennies or the Duns or the cheaper, the Lidl or Aldi ones as the backups, and that maybe works quite well. For the month of September, if the weather is like it is today, they're quite welcome to wear a plain pair of navy or black shorts along with runners under their t-shirt and the tracksuit tops at the time. The 2 questions are very much linked together. So as I say, we'll send you a message on the app over the next couple of weeks as soon as the tracksuits are available. Cahan meg is again Ken wrong in the will or Bosch D. The magical question. I actually thought I had done that in the notification we sent out. So Muntor Mosh is going to remind me that I'm going to tell you tomorrow. If anybody here works in the Data Protection Commissioner's office, please put your hands over your ears now, because I'm going to start giving out. 2 years ago when you came into school, there was a big poster up on a board outside the window telling you the names of all the posh that were in the class with your children, and we'd even have sent that home by email so that you'd know who everybody was. Because of the wonderful GDPR regulations, we can't do any of that. So all you're going to find out from the school is what teacher your child has. And of course then GDPR will be totally breached, because everybody will share all that information on WhatsApp, and you'll all have worked it out within about 5 days as to who's in each class list.
I thought it was sent out, I think.
No, I don't think so. No, we haven't sent out a list yet. All we'll be telling you, unfortunately, is the name of the child of the teacher that your child will have, and then we're down to Miss Marple detective work to figure out who's in what group with each other, and people manage to work that out. But don't forget, on the 30th of August, you'll be in here, and maybe you just want to keep it as a surprise for your colleague Nubukal to find out who they'll be with the first day. And people get very stressed about, will he be with his friend who was in the Naíonáin Bheaga beside us here? Within 3 days, they'll have made perfect friends with all of the people in their new class, and they'll have forgotten nearly about the people that they were friends with before. And anyway, they're going to meet each other on the way in and out of school, and they're going to have that kind of fun interaction with the children. If you do have children that you know are going to be in your child's class, there may be opportunities for you to get together over the summer and to start to mix with them, but you don't need to. Let your child learn about their new friends on the first days that they come into school. And the other one is kind of related to that. How many children will be in each class? Both two people have asked the same question. The people that are going to be in each class, there are going to be 28 children in each class. That's what's been allocated to them at the moment. That's the maximum number that we can take. We still have 2 parents waiting very patiently on the waiting list. And, but so if by any chance anything changes, I was speaking to one lady today who's emigrating to Boston next February, unfortunately, and a place suddenly became available. And I think there's a mammy or daddy on this Zoom call who found out today that they got a place for their child. So those are the kind of things that happen, and that we can accommodate people then and make sure that they have a place that's available to them. So I think we've covered most of it. What we do have now, especially for your Posh D, tuning in here, we have 2 fabulous film stars here as the Montori, and you're going to get a little taste of their introduction to the school, which was filmed in the last couple of days. I haven't told them this yet, but it will be on the school's YouTube channel in the next few days, and we'll share it on the school's Facebook page and on the school's Facebook page, on the school's Twitter feed. And the master is realizing that I'm going to have to get up to the times here. We don't have an Instagram feed yet, which we do need to establish. And we're probably going to have to look at TikTok as well, the great fun of the fair. But we are a social media friendly school, so go off tonight when you're sitting there with your tablet, find the school's Twitter feed and Facebook page, and sign up and become a friend of both of those. And we do put lots of nice things up there. We will be asking for your permission for your child's image to be used every now and again. When they're doing a nice activity like reading out in the yard, you'll see lots of those images on our website. We're going to have a new website hopefully in September when we come back. And one of the things that will be on the website will be the book list. Please don't use the book list for Naíonáin Bheaga that's currently on the website. It's out of date, and Mosh is going to remind me to take it down tomorrow morning. And I think the new Laura list is nearly worked out. It's ready to go, and we'll get that uploaded to the website in the next couple of days. And because you're the newbies, we'll email it directly out to you as well.
The one mistake parents sometimes make is that they buy the Hínshreacha instead of the Hóisreacha. So any Lara they're getting should have Hóisreacha on it. Yeah, it's all Hóisreacha. So
Naíonáin Hóisreacha means junior infants, or Naíonáin Bheaga. So make sure you're buying the right book. But when you go into Jones's Business Systems or Eason's or any of the other places around that supply the books, or you're buying your books online, just make sure if you're dealing with somebody face to face that you emphasize that you're going into the junior infant class, not into the senior infant class.
The Cruinniú book is actually, we use the senior infant one, but it's B, so don't worry. B is on it.
It'll be written on the book list, and you look for the B, Laura. Okay? So are we buying our own books, or is the school down at the junior end of the school? The vast majority of books that the children use, I think all of them are workbooks. So unfortunately, the school can't use them, can't reuse them. So you have to purchase your books in the first year or two.
But we're buying one book, the Oscar Gabriel, is it now, or the new one?
We'll have a new book, and your child will be writing in it. So you'll have to purchase that. But as you go through the school, particularly into Rangaheen, Rangado, Rangatree, a lot of the core books that you'll have will be provided through a book rental scheme. We would all love to be in a country where everything was free, as it should be, and that you didn't have to pay for any of this. But the reality is we're not there yet. So hopefully we'll get there at some point. You will also, by the way, be getting what we call a bill of scoile in our school, which asks you for a number of contributions to activities like swimming, to a very important benefit that you get from the school through Allianz Insurance, which is a 24/7 insurance scheme which I think you get for a tenner per child, and which you can literally use for any accident that befalls your child in or outside of school, which is hugely valuable. But there will also be, contributions towards photocopying costs and other costs of the school. And we'd ask you just to do your best to pay it. You can do it in installments. You can do it all in the one go, whichever you prefer to do. So those are, and again, something very important to say, we are involved in the school completion program, which is a program that's aimed to get children through primary and post-primary school. We are aware that some of you have difficult financial situations. People have lost work, they've lost jobs over the last 12 months. We will be understanding. Nobody ever gets told in our school that they can't do something because mom or dad doesn't have enough money for them to do it. Whether it's school tours or school books or other facilities, please let us know in a very quiet, private, confidential, discreet way that you want to be included on that list, and we will then accommodate you to the best of our ability to make sure that you get everything that you're entitled to, and that is your and your child's right. So if there's no other question, and if you want to unmute yourself and ask a question on the spot, feel free. If there isn't, we'll go to the video in a minute, and that will be our introduction. So from Meán, Master Sean, Muntor Moshe, Muntor Maeve, Slán Tamil, and you can take the next 6 or 7 minutes to look at a little bit of a fun and quirky video which will give you and your pasta a really good insight into what they can expect when they come in on the 30th of August, but more importantly on the 31st of September for Tus Ashter Untach, we hope, for the beginning of a wonderful journey of 8 years at least in our school. And we are really looking forward to seeing you all at the end of August, beginning of September, and that we're going to have great fun. And as Muntor Moshe says, that we'll all be going home with smiles on our faces, absolutely exhausted for the first couple of weeks, having had great fun in school. So listen, we'd like to say Gura Mila Mahagut if any of you need funeral videos, wedding videos, any kind of things, talk to Shane Hatton in Old Mill Pictures in Kilkenny, who's done a great job for us here this evening and will be with us, I think, for most of the week, the way things are looking, doing different bits and pieces for us in the school. The last thing I will say, by the way, if you have any skills that you think you can contribute to our school, no matter what they are, artistically, musically, or anything else, come and talk to us and offer your services. We would also hope that you will get involved in Cruinniú thuismitheoirí, the Parents Association. Put your hand up. Somebody does it. We'll have representatives in each class who play a part in feeding into how the school does things to the best of our ability, and we always pride ourselves on having a very good and open relationship with the parents in the school. Okay, so Shin, we're going to leave you with the video. Have a gorgeous evening. Enjoy the rest of the sunshine when we get out August. Pashti, we're really looking forward to seeing the Bukali and the Kalini on here as soon as possible in school. So, Eva.
Díomh Pháistí agus fáilte go dtí Gaelscoil Ostrí. Is mise Muntor Maeve agus beg mise ag múna Naíonáin Bheaga na bliana se cuaig. Hello boys and girls, my name is Muntor Maeve and I'm going to be teaching Naíonáin Bheaga junior infants this coming September. Now, seo Teddy Muntor Moshe agus Tom féin agus Muntor Moshe anna bhuairle na céile agus dog she Teddy I motheach inné. Muntor Moshe, the other junior infants teacher, left her Teddy in my house yesterday. So caithfidh mise dul agus Muntor Moshe a all and give her Teddy back to her. An jukic sibh shilumsa ag lorag Muntor Moshe. Tarla manish. Follow me into the school and we'll find Muntor Moshe. Beidir Gwylis ag Eileen. Maybe our secretary Eileen knows where Muntor Moshe is. I'll go check now.
Dúnadh Mother Maeve.
Díogait Eileen, come to talk to.
Go mac Mother Maeve agus Suhain.
House, Eileen, tá ag irí Teddy a chuirt ar asca dí Muntor Moshe. An bhaca tú Muntor Moshe in éineát, mar ní féidir am í all.
Níacha ach éag tú sa hala, beidir bhfuil sí sa hala, muna bhfuil beidir bhfuil sí sa láirdan.
Ítach Eileen, gurh míle
Míle
mágat.
buchas. Slán leibh.
Beidir gofuil múntóir máise sa leabharlinn. Come into the library with me and let's see if múntóir máise is in here. Múntóir máise? Teddy, ní dóilm gofuil múntóir máise an seo. I don't think múntóir máise is here. But let's have a look at this gorgeous leabharlinn. Féicear na leabhar áling ar fad. Look at all the lovely books. And Páistí, nuair tágann sibse go dtí an Gaelscoil. When you come to school here, we're going to come on visits to the leabharlinn and read loads and loads of books together. Tá mig súil go mór leis agus tá súlagam go sibse freisin. Now, let's keep going and try and find múntóir máise. Beidir gofuil múntóir máise amó ar an glós. Maybe she's out here in the yard. Múntóir máise? Múntóir máise? Ní dóilm go bhfuil she an seo. Ach féicear an close áling. Look at our lovely playground. And a fóistí nuair a bheidh sibse sa Gaelscoil. We'll be playing out here every single day at our break times and at times for Kirpadakis for PE, and anytime it's a nice sunny day we might even come out here for a play just because. And look at our lovely playground. Féicear an áit spree seo. Nach bhfuil sé go háling. Agus a rís nuair a bheidh sibse an seo, rockamid amach ag spree an sin freisin. We'll spend lots of our time out here playing and getting lots of fresh air and exercise. I can't wait, Teddy. How about you? Tá sé anna hásta faoi. Arás. Right. Níl sí an seo. Rockamid isteach a rís chun fécant an bhfuil sí ar ais sa scoil. Múntóir máise. Oh wow, a fáistí. Féicear seo. Táid a chala na scoile. We are in the school hall now. I don't see múntóir máise anywhere, but look around. It's a lovely big open space. Agus seo an áit ina mbeidh sibse ag déanamh dabhsa gaelach, agus beidir glaciacht. You might be doing Irish dancing and gymnastics in here, and we're going to have loads and loads of fun playing in all this great open space in our PE hall. Ach, for air, ní eic an múntóir máise an seo, so begarín fécant áit ag an eile. Beidir go bhfuil sí sa seomar bhanga. Cad a ceapan tú, Teddy? Yeah, rockamid go dtí an seomar bhanga chun fécant an bhfuil múntóir máise ann. Tarlum! Féic a fáistí, táid lasmó den seomar bhanga. We're outside múntóir máise's seomar bhanga. Beidir go bhfuil sí is stig. Maybe she's inside. Cnagi mé ar an nurse. Rocky mé isteach. Tarlum! Oh wow! Féicear an seomra áling seo a fáistí. Táid is stig is seomar múntóir máise. Beidir go bhfuil sí an seo. Múntóir máise?
Múntóir mé. Go má Tom ar Alice múntóir mé.
Well, tháinig mé an seo mar dóg tú Teddy lumsa, and you left your Teddy with me agus tháinig mé an seo chun Teddy a thuirt ar aiste.
Míle buchas múntóir mé.
Tá fáilte rud.
Go húntaach ar fad.
Múntóir máise. Bhí is just a rá in a páistí. Cé có iontach is atá an scoil, and I wanted to show them your seomar bhanga, to show the páistí all of the different activities and things that you'll be doing at home when you come to school in Meán Fomhair.
Tá go leor a going múntóir mé sa scoil seo. We have so many things in this school múntóir mé. A lán rudí féicear na brígán an seo páistí. Brígán don na páistí agus na bucalaí, the cadíní agus na bucalaí. Agus tá stáisiún an ar-líne againn agus Aster.
Rálam sa ar-líne Aster. Féicear seo. Oh wow, we've lots of different things to play with here. We've got
Mr. Guardian.
Oh, we should like tuckelt, you were digging. Agus ag féicear an alley.
An ar-líne agus an seo an leithreach páistí na leabhar fumana agus na leabhar cleití freisin.
Rálam sa bheidh léamh. A fáistí, when you come to the Gaelscoil, you're going to be learning how to read as Gaeilge. And we have lots of small books that you'll be able to take home to read Sawalia, and lots of big Laura Mora that we are going to read together ar school. Sin go hínta muintir máise.
Agus an seomún de mé, bhín siad ag cleachtain na loves, give na postí, you'll be practicing your hand skills. So you'll be learning to cut and colour Clywit Morla, to markery again, agus clarbón whiteboards, to gachrod ar an stáisiún seo.
Agus cad atá seo muintir máise.
And the matalún to Maeve is even le Bereen on mata. Oh, she
Faker and
loves the
stuff
math
sin ar fad.
station to
We have the bear and Ella High Cora for counting, the Naskina, all these lovely links for doing patterns.
Gachrod
and Shorin at Yoga Shin.
Oh, big on-spree going moon to Maeve.
Ínta.
Tommy Fehifax to new more the Meán Fomhair.
Oh, Afashti, we are so looking forward to meeting all of you in September when you come into our school. One more thing, Muintir Máise. Let's have a look at your lovely clór dove.
Yeah, for me, Brunton's new and Vinsha on moisture. I got a lovely present from the moisture children, and look at it. Fair, Beamer, a clocked on Nuachtar Machin and figure Scrivenort Alling. August Hussig na Posti in me man for August ni Revshton and Scriven.
So the Poshi are going to learn. So not only are you going to learn how to read with us and practice all of your handwriting skills, you're going to learn how to write your nuach as well every day. That is just Gahindak Muintir Máise.
Oh, Toshi Revs, August Munter Maeve, Coola May, when the Posti as far as the Dowen,
I heard that too, that we have the best group of Poshi coming into us in me man for.
That August slumps are fresh and both so lucky.
Muintir Máise. I think that's it. Tá ag tnú go mór lena Posti eáil agus fecamid sibse in me man for.
Slán.